So, hey Luki, welcome to this podcast episode with Buildify. And how are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you so much. How are you, Yash?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah. So basically, would love to know more about Chainbase and what you guys are actually building at Chainbase. So if you can give us a short overview about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chainbase, we started about 3 years ago in Web3. We started as a SaaS project because a bunch of the core engineer developers are very talented with the data at the time. So we saw the fragmentation in Web3, and what we did was we started with subscription model, which is a very Web2 style kind of a business
Yeah.
model. And we started to index on-chain data. At the very beginning, it was Ethereum data and then expanded to some other chains. So it was more of listening to our customers at the time. It was like slowly building up, talking to VCs, talking about the whole market trend. And then we started to get one or two customers and the snowball started to roll. And then and then we found out that there are much more developers who are willing to contribute because when you visit the GitHub repo, there are a lot of things that are still needed to be improved. So we
Correct.
started to have a Discord channel be much more active later on, and then we understand what the developers really need at the time, of course. So we're building with them with the feedback. And last year, I think it was like early last year or at the end of 2023, we started to experiment open sourcing our code. So it's one at a time because once you have a project that serves a lot of customers, it just became very unsustainable for us because it's very labor consuming and needs a lot of time and needs maintenance. So we're hoping to open source the framework so that everyone knows how to do it. Of course, Chainbase still has our flagship product. If they don't want to worry about the code, they can come to Chainbase. We can serve them. But our main idea is to educate the whole society of how to use on-chain data. So, early last year, we open sourced like just a step by step more and more code bases that we have on GitHub, and the reaction of our developer group is really good. So we started to have more and more developers joining the Discord, contribute to the repo and stuff like that. Um, and then we had several events along the year. I started to talk to developers and getting feedback from them. And we're also talking to VCs and on our advisors at the same time. What we really realize is that we're in Web3, but at the time we want to play the Web3 game, which is decentralization. So at the very beginning, our decentralization was mainly about open sourcing the framework, have different developers utilizing it, contribute to it. So then we designed a system that actually decentralized every single layer of the network. So the layer includes, for example, data layer. We wanted to be involved with a lot of blockchain data, but it's not in a centralized way. So we don't want Chainbase to be the only entity that access or get the data for other people to use. So we want that to be a community effort. And then we have like node operators, validators, because we're in Web3, we're wanting to make sure the nodes are running correctly. We have people who can verify those nodes. So that's very easy to understand that that needs to be decentralized. And then the third part is the open source of the framework. So we want the knowledge to also be decentralized so that we can build on top of each other. The knowledge can keep growing. So that's what Chainbase is about. It's more of the data framework that right now we're providing to the Web3 industry so that everyone, no matter what you're building, Web3 project from dApp to AI agents, you need data from blockchain. So
Correct.
what we do is we provide a framework for developers to customize and cater to their specific needs.
Got it. Got it. So thanks for the overview. And actually, while we were researching about Chainbase, we saw that Chainbase works on dual chain system, like as you explained right now. And it consists like manuscript, the execution layer, consensus layer. So can you like give us a very short explanation about these three tiers, like what are manuscripts and the both layers?
Yeah, yeah. Manuscript actually that's the I think that's the secret sauce of a
Okay,
Chainbase, or that would be the backbone of Chainbase. So remember I talk about the framework, right?
correct.
And different manuscript pretty much represent different data processing standard. One, a manuscript, it's customizable. The framework is out there for developers to use. So you can expand to it, you can fork it. And then you can use that manuscript. The reason it's called manuscript is because it can be used as asset. It can be
Okay,
used as asset that you can monetize it. So if you deploy on mainnet and that actually be wrapped as an asset, if I am another developer that I want to use the same manuscript, which is the data processing that I want to process the same parameter of data, or I want to build on top of it. For example, if you just have three types of data sets
yeah,
that this manuscript can grab. And I want to build on top of it. I love those three data sets. I want to build another two on top of it. So
okay,
that means I'm utilizing yours and make it bigger and make it more catered to me. But at the same time, the base code is yours. So
got it.
I use your knowledge, you will get incentivized within the chain-based network. So that
Okay,
is what manuscript is about. It's really to empower people to utilize the knowledge in a correct and customizable way. And you mentioned about different layers. So different layers, that's exactly what we're trying to say about, the blockchain, the decentralization, the security, and also the verification, etc. So regarding the execution layer and the consensus layer, we like to call it as dual consensus. Dual
okay,
consensus of, first of all, we have the execution layer to execute the manuscript. Once
okay,
you create the manuscript, you deploy it in the network. That sets in one of the, I will call it like asset layer or processing layer. So
okay,
the layer has all the assets, the knowledge assets, the token assets. And we need execution layer to execute all those different
yeah,
assets. So that's why the execution layer comes from. So then we start to work with eigenlayer regarding building ABS in order to have that execution layer being able to catering to our manuscripts and having the network of Ethereum to validate and verify everything's correct.
okay,
So that's why we work with eigenlayer in order to launch that execution layer
yeah,
for the manuscript to be executed. Another layer is consensus layer. Consensus layer that right now we're looking into common BFT. Um, but the thing is that we focused very much on the consensus, the execution layer for last year because that actually is the core of its executing manuscript. So for
okay,
the consensus layer that we're this year looking for building much more on it. So we have the skeleton framework of the consensus layer already, and we've been talking to different validators. So right now, it mainly is we want to focus the maturity of a manuscript and execution layer. Everything's up and run. Then we will be focusing like early Q2. We'll be focusing on building out the consensus layer, which
okay.
involves with POS system, which involves a validator come to validate all those different requests.
Got it, got it. And also, when we saw the product section at Chainbase, we saw that you guys have two things, that is crypto data platform and world model. So, what are these things about, if you can explain? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Oh, apparently you did your homework of our
yeah, okay.
products. So remember I told you about our very first product, the SaaS product? That's the
Correct.
platform.
Okay,
So what the platform was is that if you just know a little bit about code, if you just know a little bit about SQL, you can come to Chainbase platform, type in what you want, what kind of a data you need. We generate the code for you. You can copy and paste it into GraphQL. You can do whatever you need into different languages. And with that, you can access the data you need. But this is still you access the data you need through Chainbase centralized system.
yeah,
So we provide this POA that actually uh, making sure the quality, making sure that the data is correct, and making sure the data is latent and stuff like that. Um, but the thing is that this is still centralized way. We make sure our clients they pay for a subscription, they get the correct and like more than just enough service quality from
Okay.
us. But the same time is that we want to encourage developers to build on top of it. But yeah, so the platform is more of an enterprise grade served by Chainbase team. And the Thea world model, the crypto world model, that's something that we experimented last year, and we've been benchmarking this year as well by utilizing different models with inject the models with the different crypto knowledge that we have been using. So last 3 years we processed a lot of on-chain data, and last year we used Llama 3 and we tried OpenAI just to use all different models to train those different data sets we've had in order to generate some sort of a pattern analysis. So like if you are just new to Web3 or if you are very seasoned trader, you can look at the what Chainbase the world model provided to you can just access AI agent. They use this model and prompt a question about give me the current analysis of, for example, some meme coins. Then that will be able to, and they all the model will always will be able to tell you based on the past, the historical data. This is what the trend was. This is not financial advice, but this is what we predict. So what we're hoping to do is provide a comprehensive crypto knowledge to the use basis by using this model. And we just open sourced this model, putting on Hugging Face late last year, but we're still
Okay.
benchmarking it. The thing is that training a model does need a lot of resources. Maybe DeepSeek will say something different.
Mhm.
But for us, we still it needs a little resources that
Okay.
we had last year. So we're still benchmarking, we're still putting much more talents into training the data, training the model so that it will be the quality is I wouldn't say perfect, but the quality is better than what it was last year. So that's something we've been continuing practicing. And I don't want to just like blindly sell it to random people saying, hey, this is the best world model that's
Mhm.
existing in Web3, because we still were very humble of building it. We know there's a lot of improvements that still needs to be done. So at this point, we're still training it. Hopefully by Q2, we're able to present the community with a better and more accurate version of a role model.
Got it. Got it. So thanks for this explanation about the whole idea about both the platforms. So my next question would be like, what kind of projects are you guys looking to collaborate with? Like, what projects do you expect that should use chain-based services and all the platform?
Yeah, really, I feel like this is a really good question, Yash. I was giving some thoughts regarding partnerships or collaborations. In Web3, even though we go to conferences, there are so many people and there are so many projects, but in Web3, we're still small. We're small and
Yeah,
mighty. So when you
correct.
say like what kind of a partnership, even if we don't come across on a technical level, we can still collaborate. So I think that's the beauty of Web3 is that everyone's building, everyone's shipping something. So collaboration might not be the priority at the moment, but we can always do some campaign. We can always have a AMA. We can always have this podcast in order to educate people what's actually happening in the space.
Yeah.
So right now we have in the AI space specifically because AI really is a data compute and model. Right.
Yeah.
So we wanted to provide all those different model framework and also AI agents with on-chain data accessibility. So right now, if you look at them, a lot of them are still getting the party data.
Yeah.
So either from some of the script website scraping or from API from certain website, they can get this price data in order to spit out the inference. So what we hope to do is that It's very easy. We just merge with the ELIZA framework.
Yeah.
So customer or not customer, like developers who build AI agents on top of ELIZA are able to use the plugin in order to get on-chain data. So it's just like another line of code they add on top of it, and they are able to get the on-chain data they need for their AI agents to analyze or spit out any answers the clients need or their
Okay.
customers need. So I just feel like this specific strategy of collaboration caters much more to the projects who actually need data, on-chain data. And we're also working with the different data projects too, like the synthetic data, right? Like we were talking to some Web3 synthetic data projects in order to put their data into our data accessibility layer.
Okay.
So it actually has more than just blockchain data. It also has user data, it's synthetic.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the user data. So we're talking with some user data Web3 projects as well to integrate the user data under their like TE environment or FHE, some sort of a encryption to make sure that it's secure. So we're talking to different collaboration points regarding how to make the database much bigger and secure, and how to actually make that accessible for the people who actually need AI, the data from Web3 to train their models or feed to their AI agents.
Okay, got it. And also, like, do you guys have anything for community like that? That can be bounties, that can be quests, or any programs. And also, if, for example, if there is an individual contributor, he wants to get involved with Chainbase, so how can he get started with it? Like
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. So, we don't have one that's specified yet.
Okay.
I was kind of designing the program, the grant program with our DevRel last year, but because we also just open sourced the manuscript, so wanting that to be tested out before we even put a grant program out there. We sponsored a couple hackathons in the past, which was very well received. We had several of the projects coming back asking for grant to build much further. So we saw people who are interested with the product. We saw people are eager to build their own projects with Chainbase. So I
Okay.
think for the grant program or some sort of a request for like hackathon um or like incentivization, everything's gonna happen, I believe, in Q2 because I'm finalizing the design. I have to get it approved. And for grant program, that's a big of a foundation cost, which is
Correct.
great, which is really rewarding for all of us to engage all the customer to the developers. But at the same time, we want to make sure it's carefully designed so the incentivization actually is fair to people who want to contribute. Right now, for contribution purpose, GitHub will be the best way to contribute to Chainbase, like on the technical level. Even it's not technical level, I actually contributed a little bit on like, finding typos and
Yeah.
um so like all of those and plus like if you go to GitHub, it actually I love looking at different GitHub accounts. I feel like that's how they communicate with
Yeah.
us, right? Like on a technical level, even though like I'm not a technical person, but I feel like this is how the team communicates with the outside world um on the technical style, but at the same time, like they want to make sure that you also understand. So when you look at the docs, you actually understand what they're trying to build, even if you don't understand the code. So I think that's actually the beautiful thing of understanding on that deeper level of the project. And you can always have a create an account or sign in your GitHub and then provide feedback to our GitHub repo. Another way is joining the Discord. Discord is much of a um community driven platform for us. So we have
Okay.
been running a lot of like games and engagement activities. Like we had a poker game that's collaborated with some other AI projects out there. and we're doing a meme contest. So like we still want the community to be happy and hype and all about the whole like we're all a family, that kind of thing. And we do our monthly town hall as well. So
Okay.
the day is kind of a not like a set day every month, so you have to listening and realize the announcement being out there for the town hall meeting. But that's when we release about what we have done last month. Like we talk to different VCs, we do talk to different exchanges, what the foundation is here for. So that has a lot of the internal updates, and then we are very
Okay.
interactive. So we get feedback and questions from our community members, and then we can ask them, we can answer all those questions accordingly. So those are the two big platforms that I would recommend people to contribute.
Okay, okay. So that's actually a very great insight. And now moving towards our last question for this session. So that would be like I already saw the roadmap for Chainbase, but what do you think? Like, what more advancements are you guys planning in future for this year or maybe next also? Like anything, like if you could give some sneak peeks to us, and also if you can give like overall scenario about what you think this DAI scenario would look like in future, like both the things.
I I'm of more of a short-term goal kind of person, so it's
Okay,
really hard for me to give you a prediction of what it looks like in the future. But I know when you have a D in front of the AI, the decentralization, that's something that we are driving towards together. So we're decentralizing all those layers of a network to making sure that everyone who can contribute and have a slice of the pie and be incentivized. So
correct.
this is something that we truly believe in, but it just like every project has its own narrative. Our narrative is AI and data. So we're
Yeah.
accelerating all those the AI agents. And really, really, we are hoping to ship in next 1 or 2 months is having like right now we merge into ELIZA framework based on the on-chain data access plugin. So we're hoping to do much more research about all those different framework and see how we're able to build something specific for that framework and have the AI agents who are in that ecosystem to use on-chain data access through Chainbase. So
Okay.
that is something that we are discovering regarding how easy it is, how compatible it is. Um, yeah, so I will say that is our one of our missions for next month or two is to exploring different framework and emerge Chainbase into their ecosystem and educate others regarding the usage and insights that on-chain data is able to provide. So that's
Okay.
one thing. Another thing for this year is education. I think just by looking at how many events are there being planned during East Denver,
Okay.
I see more than 5 AI agent days. So pretty much
Oh.
the whole East Denver is gonna be every day's AI agent day. And the whole conference, I feel like a lot of side events that pivoted the way they hold conferences or summits or side events. Now it's more like instead of panels, we're gonna showcase AI agents.
Yeah.
So I just have a feeling that every day it's gonna be the same 40 AI agents and different side events, and they just keep showing who they are and what they can do for 5 days in different AI agent days. Um, which is not a bad thing, which is a good thing for us to actually reinforce the needs of it and the market trend of it, right? But this is something that I'm hoping to see is that more and more AI agents are able to use real life use cases, the Web 2 data and Web 3 data all together. And we are able to actually see um filter out the good ones and the mediocre ones. And the good ones we're hoping actually to assist them with on-chain data accessibility. So this is something that we want to focus for this year. Um, and just to empower the whole AI from the data side of it. And the decentralization comes from like Chainbase, it comes from the data side. And
Yeah.
of course, there's also decentralized model, like you train the model in a decentralized way, which is like federated learning. So I think there are different kind of decentralization, but from Chainbase, we're hoping to decentralize the whole data network in order to achieve a like the whole concept of decentralized AI.
Okay. That's great actually to hear. And thanks a lot for coming on to this podcast and sharing a lot about Chainbase and the whole vision for the Chainbase team. And it's always great to hear from you guys. So thanks a lot for joining us.